Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy Eyes Academy. What if I told you that one of the most surprising geopolitical friendship of 21st century was once almost impossible? What if I told you that a country which once voted against Israel at the United Nations today consider it one of the closest strategic partners? And what if I told you that this transformation did not happen gradually? It accelerated dramatically in less than a decade. So as you can see here, the headlines in the news, how India and Israel have grown closer in the Modi era, how the ties has grown closer. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of how India and Israel, two ancient civilizations, two modern democracies, two nations shaped by conflict, okay, survival and resilience, moved from diplomatic hesitation to strategic embrace. For decades, India kept Israel at arm's length. Indian passports were once stamped not valid for travel to Israel. India voted against Israel admission to United Nations. Publicly, New Delhi stood firmly with Palestine. Yet, behind the scene, during the war and moment of crisis, quiet cooperation existed. Then came a turning point, and that turning point when Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2017 stepped onto Israeli soil, becoming the first Indian Prime Minister to ever visit. It wasn't just a diplomatic trip, it was a signal, a declaration. It was a strategic, you can say, reset. So fast forward to 2026, defense deals worth billions, cutting edge missile systems, joint tech funds, counter terror cooperation, and free trade agreements. So all these negotiations are reshaping their partnership. That is the partnership between India and Israel. But here is the real question. How did India manage to grow so close to Israel without abandoning its long-standing support for the Palestine? Is this a shift in ideology? Or is this the rise of a new foreign policy doctrine like strategic autonomy in action? So today we are going to decode this fascinating geopolitical transformation, a story of real politic. Yes, a story of real politic, a story related to security, innovation, global power and balancing that is reshaping West Asia and perhaps the future of Asian geopolitics itself. So stay with me till the end because this is not just about India and Israel. It is about how modern nations redefine friendship in a complex world. So, India-Israel relations. First, we need to understand India-Israel relations in Modi era. What has changed? So, let me tell you, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting Israel today. That is today, 25th of February, 2026. And this visit is being called historic. Now, the question here is why this visit is considered as historic? Because India and Israel are closer than ever before in defense, in technology, trade, global politics, etc. But this was not always the case. So let's try to understand the phase-wise evolution in India-Israel relations. So we are going to discuss phase-wise relations step by step. Okay. Now, first phase, which is before 1992, which is considered as distance and caution phase. Yes, distance and caution phase. So let me tell you, after the independence, India's foreign policy was shaped by anti-colonial values, support for Palestine, leadership role in the non-alignment movement. So what was the India's early position? So let me tell you India's early position. India has actually opposed, when British India was there, India ने oppose किया था 1917 Balfour Declaration. You know Balfour Declaration, which gave the confirmation for the creation of Israel. Arthur Balfour, who was the foreign minister from Britain in 1917, he announced that Palestine is the land of Jews. That was the official declaration which came in First World War era, 1917. So India opposed that Balfour Declaration of 1917. Then India voted against UN partition plan of 1947. Then India voted against Israel's UN membership also in 1949. But if you see one thing, India recognized Israel in 1950. Yes, India recognized Israel in 1950. But India did not establish full diplomatic relations until 1992. Now, at one point, Indian passports were stamped that Indian passports are not valid for the travel to Israel. But secretly, despite public distance, Israel helped India during wars like 1962 war with China, 1965 and 1971 war with Pakistan. Israel helped India. Israel gave military supplies and military supplies quietly flowed. So even before the friendship was official in 1992, cooperation existed behind the scene. Clear? This was the first phase. Then second phase was started 1992 to 2014. Now this was official but limited friendship was there. Okay, so India established full diplomatic relations with Israel in 1992. That is after the Cold War era. Okay. Now in 1992, after the Cold War ended, India liberalized its economy and India established full diplomatic relations with Israel. Embassies were opened in Tel Aviv and New Delhi. Defense trade grew steadily, but political visits were rare. Okay. So, how were the relations between India and Israel before 2014? अगर हम 1992 to 2014 की बात करें, so how were the relations? So let me tell you that the relations was transactional, mostly defense focused. Relations were low profile at that time. Okay, India still balanced carefully due to Arab world sensitivities. Clear? Now let's come to third phase, the Modi era, which is also considered as strategic transformation. Now, how it is considered as strategic transformation? So, everything was changed in 2017. Now, how everything was changed in 2017? When Prime Minister Modi paid a visit to Israel in 2017. So, Modi's historic visit. Modi's historic visit in 2017. Now, Narendra Modi became the first ever Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel. That actually broke the decades of hesitation. And PM Modi openly called the relationship between India and Israel special. This was a symbolic shift. India was no longer hiding the friendship. Okay. Then what was the outcome of that visit? Netanyahu's visit in 2018 to India. Okay, Benjamin Netanyahu visited India soon after high-level dialogues became regular and multiple agreements were signed during this visit, like agreements on cyber security, homeland security, civil aviation, oil and gas, agriculture, innovation. Okay, all these agreements were signed. Okay. So based on these different agreements were signed between India and Israel in 2018. Now, apart from this, the most important thing is defense, which is the backbone of India and Israel partnership. So let me tell you that Israel has become one of India's top 3 defense supplier. Sometimes Israel is number 1 also. So if you see between 2020 to 2024, between 2020 to 24. If you see this timeline, estimated defense trade crossed more than $20 billion. And India has bought various systems like Barak 8 missile system. Clear? Then Falcon AWACS. Okay, Falcon AWACS. Then Spider Air Defense System, as you can see here. Spider Air Defense System. Then Heron drones, as you can see this. Okay, these are Heron drones, then Harop and Harpe loitering munitions. So it is here, as you can see, Harop and Harpe loitering munitions, then Spike you can say anti-tank missile. So all these things, clear. Now, apart from that, now India is looking at Israel for advanced drones, for long-range missiles, laser-based defense system, ballistic missiles. Okay, like ballistic missile technologies. Both countries also cooperate on counter-terrorism, intelligence sharing. That is why India's ambassador to Israel, so he said both nations are on the same page of terrorism. Okay. Now, next important pillar between India and Israel is technology and innovation, which is considered as the new pillar. Now, the partnership is no longer just about the weapons. There are various key developments like India-Israel Research and Development and Technology Innovation Fund was created. As you can see here, okay, so both the countries created India-Israel Research and Development Technology Innovation Fund. Now, what are the focus areas of this? Focus areas under this pillar is artificial intelligence, under this agricultural technology, under this water management, cyber security, space research, all these things are there. So Israel is also known as the startup nation. Israel को एक startup nation भी माना जाता है, and India wants to tap that innovation ecosystem. Clear? Now, apart from this, trade and economy. With respect to trade and economy, massive growth. How? So if you see in 1992, when the relations were established, official diplomatic relations, at that time the trade was around $200 million. Trade was around $200 million. Now, if you see 2024 to 25, the trade reaches $3.75 plus billion. Today, $3.75 plus billion. This rise, and what are the main sectors? Main sectors like what India exports precious stones. Okay, India exports petroleum product, India exports machinery. Then what India imports from Israel? India imports advanced technology. Okay, India import kya karta hai? Advanced technology. India imports chemicals, defense system, and 2025 is considered as milestone. Why? The reason is in 2025 bilateral investment agreement was signed between India and Israel. Free trade agreement negotiations officially started. This shows that the relationship is actually moving from defense heavy to economically diversified. Now, the question here is, what about Palestine then? Okay, now this is the main you can say issue, or this is where India performs a diplomatic balancing act. India needs to balance with its statement with Palestine, or you can say its stand on Palestine also, as well as its relations with Israel. So this is where India performed a diplomatic balancing act. India continues to support a two-state solution even today. India supports Palestinian sovereignty. India recognized the Palestinian statehood since 1988. And in 2018, shortly after hosting the Netanyahu, Prime Minister Modi also visited Ramallah. Yes, Prime Minister Modi also visited Ramallah. And in Ramallah, he met Mahmoud Abbas, as you can see here. And Prime Minister Modi, he reaffirmed support for an independent Palestinian state. This is the whole scenario. Now, at United Nations, so if we talk about United Nations, India's approach has become more nuanced. Sometimes India abstains on resolutions directly condemning the Israel. Okay, but India has also joined statement opposing Israeli measures which is altering the West Bank demographics. So India at the same time deepens its ties with Israel, and India is also maintaining traditional support for Palestine. So this actually reflects India's doctrine of strategic autonomy. Clear? Now, the next question that we need to understand, what is driving this closeness, okay, between India and Israel? So there are various reasons. First reason is shared security concern. So try to understand this. First reason is shared security concern. Now, how shared security concern? Both the nations, India and Israel, they face terrorism threats. Second, defense modernization. Now, defense modernization. Israel provides high-tech military systems quickly and reliably. Then, apart from this, there are other things also like technological, or you can say technology advantage. Tech advantage. Israel is a leader in water technology, desert agriculture, defense technology, cyber security, etc. Then, geopolitical convergence. Now, how geopolitical convergence? Both see instability in West Asia as a security concern. Netanyahu has described India as part of an axis of nations committed to stability. That is why the visit of 2026 is very important. Clear? So today Prime Minister is going to visit Israel. So during this visit, Prime Minister Modi will address the Knesset. He was the first Indian PM to do so. Clear? The assembly. Then PM Modi will visit Yad Vashem, as you can see here. Yad Vashem. Clear? Yad Vashem is the Holocaust Memorial. Then PM Modi will also meet President Isaac Herzog, as you can see here. Israeli President Isaac Herzog. Then he will participate in tech exhibitions, and possibility is there that he is going to sign new defense MOUs. This actually signals that relations are entering into a new phase beyond defense towards long-term strategic integration. So this is about India and Israel relations from 1950s till 2026. So before 1992, we can say India supported Palestine strongly and kept Israel at arm's length. But after 1992, relations became official but cautious. Okay. Then during PM Modi era, relations became open, strategic and multidimensional. Today, India and Israel, they are close partner in defense technology, trade, counter-terrorism, while India is still officially supporting the Palestinian statehood. It is not a shift from Palestine to Israel, it is a shift towards multi-alignment and strategic autonomy. Now, so what does this transformation really tells us? It actually tells us that foreign policy is not frozen in ideology. It evolves with national interest. India's relationship with Israel under Prime Minister Modi is not simply about defense contract or drone technology. It reflects something deeper. The rise of confident India, okay, which is willing to openly pursue the partnership that serves its security, technological growth and geopolitical positioning. So, from covert military support in 1960s to full diplomatic ties in 1992 to a bold strategic partnership today in 2017 and now in 2026 to $1 billion defense cooperation, innovation funds and free trade negotiation. The journey between India and Israel has been extraordinary. Yet India has not abandoned Palestine. It continues to support a two-state solution, call for peace and maintain diplomatic engagement with the Palestinian Authority. So let me tell you that this is not a zero-sum game. This is actually multi-alignment. This is strategic autonomy and this is 21st century diplomacy. So in a world which is divided by the blocks and ideological camps, India is attempting to something different. That is building the bridges without burning the old ones. So the India-Israel partnership today is about security against terrorism, technological collaboration and economic expansion, and also geopolitical balancing in an unstable region. So as Prime Minister Modi addresses the Knesset today and he's going to sign new defense agreement, the message is clear. India is no longer hesitant in shaping its global partnerships. Okay, so the real story here is not just how India and Israel grew closer, but the story is about how India itself is transforming into a decisive global actor. And the question for the future is this: will this partnership redefine the power equation in West Asia? Will India emerge as a stabilizing force between competing, you can say, competing regional interests? Okay. And how will this strategic balancing act shape the next decade of global politics? So, try to understand, because in geopolitics, friendships are never accidental. They are always built on interest, tested by crisis, and strengthened by vision. And this one is only entering in the next chapter. So this is all about India and Israel relation, and this is important for your GS paper too. I hope this much is clear to all of you. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much.